Welcome back to Tuesday's vlog. This is just going to be a quick one because I've got a customer waiting for this car. There's a few years out there from early days of my channel, Alan included. You like what I've got in today. It's not a great deal to do. I'm probably not even going to be able to film much of it because it's all quite hands-on, dirty kind of fuel filters, diesel, oil, all that kind of stuff. So I'll show you a little bit before and after. So what we've got in today is, you've seen this before, the L200 Series 5, exactly the same as what I had. In fact, it is 100% exactly the same as what I had. Warrior. Oh, just to go through something, like I did, I think he's got seat covers on in this, so it's not going to prove me point. Yeah, he has. Has he got them in the back? He has, right. So obviously what I just wanted to state on my last video about the Warrior and the Barbarian, they're exactly the same vehicle, just without all of the stuck on tat around the lights, the fuel cap, the back of the door handles, and I think they look a hell of a lot better for it. The chrome or standard. What else was it? Was something on here which I wasn't overly keen of. And the main thing for me is around the front, is the grille. I think the grills look far better on them without all that mesh stuff in behind them. I think that's a much more aggressive look, you know, like the kind of honeycomb, nice better airflow. I know you might get a few more stones in there, but it's all exactly the same stuff. Just put with it, with obviously the backing plate, the mesh behind it. As you can see, what I showed you there, what comes standard. These spotlights. Obviously I got the upgraded Mitsubishi ones. Sorry, just had a delivery there, so I had to stop. So yeah, onto the interior. This guy's got like proper seat covers, but they are actually, can I show you through there? Proper full leather in the Warrior. I'm not going to pull all this up because he's got it in nice and neatly. But again, they're full leather. You can see that, like, the contours of the fabric, nice, ventilated, breathable leather. So apart from obviously having the Barbarian on there, I really think it was stupid of Mitsubishi. They should have had, like, at the end of the day, the Warrior's one of the top spec cars as well. It would have been nice for them just to have Warrior across there on these seats. But anyways, they're still full leather, heated leather. You get all the same stuff. This one's a slightly later one, but my Warrior had the same display as that other one. This is like an early Series 5, and they got these like different units in. Unless he's upgraded on this. I don't even know. He might have upgraded that himself. I haven't actually spoken to him about that. But normally anyways, my 19 plate one, they come with like the Mitsubishi unit inside. But bar them little blue lights which I showed you, which I personally thought looked a bit naff, that was it. And like I said, I've got my own chrome things, genuine Mitsubishi ones to put on here, bar that lighting up. So really, I personally went for the Warrior over the Barbarian, because what you were paying for was just mainly stick-on clag. I didn't want that. And the seats, yeah, they look that bit more aggressive, but I'm still happy with the full heated, ventilated leather in the Warrior, to be quite honest. And I prefer the front end of them. And that was it. That's all you got. So anyways, I just want to show you one interesting thing on this. I haven't asked questions how it happened, but I will. Slight accident with this car, and it's the first I've had in where it's been shot. Obviously it's gone through the bonnet. There you are, gunshot holes. I believe I haven't had nothing to do with this. It's took some of the wiring out as well or something, which he's had to repair, done a repair on them. So yeah, lucky. But you can see there. And obviously the rest of it will be like inside of that. So yeah, that's what this is in for. Little service, oil and filter and fuel filter. He's already done the air filter and the pollen filter. So they're there, genuine Marley stuff. And the man filter, which to be honest, I had the Mitsubishi ones on these and they were dead thin, the metal on them. So, better actually having those parts. Got a little Fiesta in, Eco Boost. MOT and a little small service. Obviously you can see with these, quite important to use the genuine man stuff on these, the white filters to be quite particular, or the Ford ones with a 520 Eco Boost oil, because obviously, like I said, the wet belts are absolute garbage. So that's to do. This little Polo, I think the brakes are down with the metal on it, which that one there you go, I'll show you that later. So that's in for discs and pads. But I just want to make people aware, be very careful with these polos around this age. What's the sills on them? Seen the state of that? That's about ready to burst through on its next MOT, that. Oh, yeah, that's just popped a whole load of water into my hand there. That is getting very, very weak. But that's not just a bad repair on this car. That right there is common practice on these. So be very careful when you're buying these polos. I personally would avoid them like the plague, because when you start having to get sills welded into an 11 plate car, and much newer ones by the way, I'm sure the 13 and 14 plates also suffer from it. Not even sure what this is in for. It was in last week. See, was it when I was off unwell last week? This was in. I'll have to get back to you on it. I don't want to stop me dad to ask him. I don't know what it's in for. I certainly haven't ordered nothing for it, so no idea. So that's that anyways, guys. I'll let you know about the Suzuki. Some of you might be friends with me on Facebook. Others might be on my Facebook page. Other people who watch this will probably not be aware of this. But I just wanted to quickly run through this, because it still is and has been played on my mind all weekend. As you know, I was unwell on, what day was it? Thursday. And obviously on Friday, I felt okay enough to go to work. So on Friday evening, I finished work a little bit earlier, about 3 o'clock. And I started doing a few little jobs to the Audi. I have got some of that recorded. I am going to, like I've mentioned, guys, sometimes when they're just little jobs, I'm not going to go putting them through the whole, doing a video on it. I'm going to just do videos, photos, before and after, and put them on my Facebook page. I'm not really that keen of using what's the other stuff, Twitter and TikTok and all that. I'm not really into that. But anyways, more to the point of what happened. On Friday, like after work, 4 o'clock, I didn't have my son that day, so I didn't have to go out in the car. I started faffing on doing a few jobs on the A6 on the drive. Went in the house, started doing a few things. It reached about 8 o'clock at night, and I said to my partner, I said, I'll tell you what, I said, before I get changed, I'll take the dogs out for a quick walk, as I normally do around that time. I come to the front door with the dogs in my hand, and I looked and I went, oh, I've left a tin of like freon oil and a couple of little bits of like rubbish from what I've been doing on my car, which I had to put a bin. So I went out, got the can of freon oil, just put it in the porch for when I come back, and got the rubbish in my hand with the dogs in the other hand, walked around the side of the caravan, because it's blocking where the bins are, down the side of the house, put the rubbish in the bin, bear with us here guys, and set off on my way, not thinking nothing of it. And it's nothing to do with that as such. And I walked past, if any of you guys know Alex Scott's car garage, you'll have seen me daily walk to work if I've done it before. It's literally less than a minute from my door. So I walked past this bus stop with the dogs, as I do every day. Walked past Alex Scott car garage and got to the crossing at Nicer shop. Basically 60 seconds from the bus stop to the point I was standing at. And this BMW come careering round a corner, sideways, boom, straight into the bus stop. Ripped the bus stop clean out the floor, ripped the whole front end of the car off. And I was stood there at first, thinking, what the hell has just happened here? There was enough people straight away went running across. I had the dogs. I didn't want to be going near a car potentially in flames or well, basically getting the glass on the dog's feet. I was on my own, I had nowhere to put them. Plus this arsehole had actually come speeding past. So I carried on walking for 5 minutes just around the back scenes, and then I come back to it, and just all of a sudden, I don't know why it didn't happen straight away, it started ringing in my head. I thought, shit, I would have been, if I hadn't have tidied that can of oil and the pieces of rubbish away, which took us about 60 seconds, a minute to do it, I would have been at that bus stop. It literally just passed the bus stop less than a minute, and the car hit it. And if you go on my Facebook, you'll see the pictures of it. I wouldn't be here now, and neither would my dogs. There's no ifs and buts. There would be no getting well in hospital kind of soon thing. It would be a fatality. And that's really shook me up actually this weekend. It's so just what I didn't want to be doom and gloom at the beginning of the week, guys, but if I'm a little bit off or not myself, that's why. I like to be honest with you. It's not bugging us, but for the sake of putting some rubbish in the bin before leaving with the dogs is what saved me life, 100%. So yeah, I am a little bit peed off because I don't know if any of you guys are local to this area. They've got a few local clowns on Facebook, the pages going on, oh, how's the bus stop doing today? Big commotion about the bus stop. Obviously the council have been on about reducing speed on that road, which is an absolute disgrace, the speed people drive on it. And all these people who don't even live here going, oh, we don't want speed bumps, don't have this, we don't want that. And I'm thinking, it should be up to the local residents. We live on that road and I've got to walk that road several times a day, and I know. And these people are going on going, oh, that isn't speeding, we don't need speed bumps. It's like, when was the last time you walked along that road? When you're driving in your little cocoon of a car with your heating or your air conditioning, your radio and your comfy seat and your seatbelt on, you don't get the real impression. It's when you're walking hand with your 2 kids in your hand, your dogs, and you've got cars, basic vehicles, you know, Arctics and everything, less than an arm's length at you, and you know when they're doing more than 30. And I know that 90% of the vehicles there, I've lived there since 1993, are speeding. So yeah, the people who are yakking going, oh, we don't need speed limits. I hate speed limits, I hate speed bumps, I hate speed cameras. But in this instance, something needs done. And as you mentioned, if you remember, when I went to the Festival of the Unexceptional, my internet was off for nearly a month because of another idiot who was doing well over 100 and a 30 in that same corner, but going the opposite direction. Went miles upside down, God knows what, knocked the telephone exchange box out. So yeah, it's getting really serious. Yes, there's a handful of idiots who are speeding continuously, but it's the average everyday people are just not keeping to the 30, and it's a bit annoying because it's the only way in and out of like our estate. There is no other way you can get in or out. So yeah, less of the rambling on, guys. I need to crack on with this work, but I just thought I would run through that one with you, and I'll give you an update when I'm getting some work done. Actually, I need to crack on and actually get some work done. Catch you soon. Right, just a quick update. As I say, I need to crack on. So the L200, done the fuel filter. I've already done a video. If you're watching this, if you go back to my very early videos, most important point is mark it up with some white paint, so you have the top piece in the same position, the base and the screw. It's like a threaded ring basically that goes onto them. So that's done. This has also got the tuning box on, really good. I do recommend these. Fantastic bits of kit. Argue tune. Obviously they come round. I've done a video on that set, we're not going to run over that. But also the EGR delete, it's got that on, which is just this module here, which keeps the EGR permanently closed. I found massive benefits from using this on miles per gallon. So that's done. The fuel filter wasn't that dirty, but this guy looks after his car exactly the same way I do, and you just get them done regular. See what I mean? It's, the Mitsubishi filters are absolutely crap quality. There's not even branded on them. They don't even say Mitsubishi on them or nothing. I really don't like them at all, but I fitted it to mine. I didn't like that quality whatsoever. So that's done. Obviously you've got to prime it up, start it. It will cut out a few times, fire it back up again. Now it's up and running nicely. We've got it on the lift. I'm going to get all the under trays off, get them sorted, get the oil dropped out, get the filter done. But quickly, I'm just going to show you on this. It may or may not work. EcoBoost Fiesta. We're going to do a service light reset. But more than likely, you stuck on these, you don't actually get any kind of response from them. So what you do is you just push both the brake and the clutch, brake to the floor, throttle to the floor. Don't start it, just switch the ignition on. Of course, the parking sensors in this thing are beeping on. You left it, don't know why. Switch them off there. And sometimes you get a little note coming up on there saying service light reset in progress, but on this you don't. But quite often as not, it is doing it behind the scenes. So I tend to do it anyway for about 10 seconds. But as I'm putting it back on, you can see that little spanner there. It does have the active light on it. So there we go. Gonna crack on now, get on with the L200, get the oil dropped out, and I'll come back to you soon. Right, just an update. Again, sorry that I'm quick and sharp with all these videos, but I need to crack on. As I keep saying, I've got this guy waiting for it. So, oil filter's obviously done. New sump seal on. I've got the new oil filter up there. So unfortunately, you've got to take the full front tray off, and with these ones I just let them hang like that, because when you're on your own, which I am at the minute, you cannot, it's hard work trying to have something that size on your own into place. It doesn't damage it, it's just plastic. So there we go, that's the oil drain. I need to get the new oil in. I just wanted to show you quickly underneath this one. because if you remember, this is the first one we did the land guard on, and it's fared up really well under here. And this guy does use this vehicle properly off-road. So yeah, I've touched it in a few areas, just where it had come off. And obviously I've done it around where there's trays down and amongst all here, the bits where it needs to be protected. So, that was just a quick update just to show you. Get back on, get this put together, get the oil in. I've checked it over underneath for him, because it's in for MOT in a few weeks' time. So just giving it the once over and checking that it's right. So I'll catch you soon when it's back together. I'll get the oil in and we'll crack on. I've got this Polo to start outside and whatever the Suzuki's in for. So I'll catch you soon, guys. Sorry it's quick. It's not a great deal to show when I'm up the eyes with black diesel oil. Just thought I'd show you when it's stripped down, getting the work done. So all sorts been found in here. I've found a great big rock rattling around in that metal tray. That can't have been doing any good. And I've already swept the floor once or twice, and I'm going to try and get the rest of it out here, but it was covered in straw. So yeah, little bit of housework to do after this. So I'll catch you soon once I get this sorted. Right, just another quick update. That's it done. I cleaned the air filter out as requested. So that's nothing to do with me. I'm just cleaning that up. So obviously oil and filter, air filter. Obviously we use a genuine C3 oil. That's all that done. Checked underneath. I just wanted to go through and show you. You'll have to excuse the annoying beeping. But it did have the little spanner on for the service reset. And obviously you've got to use the equipment for these. Some you can, some you can't. I've done a video on this before. But now I've got the updated software. You just set the values up to, I do it to what I would say is right for these 10,000 mile or 12 month. You really don't want to be going any more than that. Hit the OK button and that was it done. The light immediately now gone off, so if you switch the ignition off, which I'm attempting to do, and switch it back on again, a different beep, but no more spanner coming up. So that's it done. So that's everything sorted. I am just going to quickly go on and reset the fuel pump values on it, which you do with these, which Mitsubishi tried to rob you for. I can't remember what they call it now. It's got some funny name, I can't remember what they call it, but they call it some service that they say you need to bring it into Mitsubishi for. It's an absolute load of rubbish. I've had to pause it to think there, but it's been a while since I've had my Mitsubishi. It's something like, they call it like a map check or a Vic check or something like that. And basically all they do is they claim that they're doing some software update on them. They never do. All it ever is basically it just recalibrates the sensor on the pump to detect it's got a new fuel filter on. But even that, to be honest, it's a complete farce. I wish I could think of what it was. If I think on through the week, I'll let you know. But that's what they tried getting me in for mine, and I just refused it. And the guy behind the scenes, I'm not mentioning names or nothing, he says basically they don't do anything. They just plug the computer in, wipe the code, and do exactly what I'm doing with this. It's not some kind of super duper function. It basically relearns the small values of the injectors and the fuel pump, and that's exactly what I can do with my equipment anyways, which I do anyway. So I'll go into it now and just quickly show you if the option's there. Now, to be honest, the guy is actually turning up any minute. He's walking from the cafe for it. I would run through it, but to be honest, I need to crack on because I've got this to finish, which I'll just quickly run through now. But that's just done anyway. Service light reset. I need to fill the service book out, and then he's going to be here to take this away. He's been waiting since 9 o'clock this morning, so I'm keen to get him away. So anyways, just quickly on these are brilliant, these brakes on these Volkswagens, because you don't actually, the caliper carrier doesn't need to be removed to take the disc off. Don't know why all brakes aren't like that. Would make life so much easier. But just want to show you with these, the pads look perfectly fine, brand new, but they're cheap crap. So what happens with them? The linings fall off them. So this nearly lost our brakes, nearly had a crash because of this. Yes, when pads age, they do that, but I tend to find the cheap shit pads have this issue where it's called delamination. Basically, the friction material comes off the base of the pad, and she got a bit of a fright because she lost all brakes for a few pumps, and then they gained back, but then you're back down to metal on metal. So obviously that's getting new front discs and pads on. This side's stripped ready. Got to get the calipers on. The pads have been cleared away, but this side had been down to the metal. I think I put them over here. Yeah, that one, you see, that's the one that went down to the metal. I don't know where the pads have been put, but yeah, so that's that. This, I found out what it's in for. Not a great deal. I just need to reset the service light, because this was in when when I was unwell. My dad hasn't got a clue with the scanner, so I'll reset that exactly kind of the same way I've just shown you is what I've done with this one. So I'm just going to take the scanner straight to that one to reset that light. Oh yeah, and a brake or a clutch rubber, one of the two is required. So that's to do. So what I'm going to do with that in a minute, in fact my coffee's on there stone cold. I'm going to reboil the kettle, and I'm going to stick this pedal into some nice hot water, so it's a lot easier to fit. And going off my Audi, what I did last week, I did a few jobs on that. It definitely works. Just one thing to finish off, just to show you really up close how bad this is getting. Absolutely horrendous. That, like, Volkswagen should be recalling these. I've seen ones where they're coming in and people are just putting their hands through like that, and it's just falling to pieces. That's your main structure of the car there. Terrible, absolutely terrible. Before you say why didn't you not do nothing, we've warned after the last 2 years about it, and they're not doing nothing about it. So you just have to let people get on with it. I think this time when it comes around after another winter, it will be going through that one, and it'll obviously be an MOT fail. So we'll leave this one here. Got on enough today. I'm not really need to show you resetting the light on the Suzuki or the pedal. You've seen the brakes built up on this. Probably leave it where it is today for Tuesday. There's a few jobs coming in, but I'll probably introduce them on tomorrow on Wednesday's vlog. So I'll catch you soon, guys. Hello guys, and welcome back to Wednesday's vlog. As I've mentioned last week, I forgot to mention at the beginning of this video yesterday, it's a bit different this week. I'm hoping there's a guy turning up shortly to do a couple of remapping jobs. We've got the Cougar in, I'll get to that in a minute. The Cougar in, that had, if you remember a few weeks ago, I had an EGR fault. I think it was just stuck with soot. I give it a good blast, a good regen, and it's been fine ever since. Because what we didn't want to do was have an EGR valve stuck open. Even if you turn them off, they need to be closed. They need to be closed. So I'm going to let the guy do his specialist work on it anyways, to just check that it definitely can be done and whatnot. But this guy tows a caravan with this car, and he wants a stage 1 remap done anyways, like an eco map they call it. Gives you a lot more torque, not huge amounts of power. Saying that, like, my Audi was going to go from 180 to 210. That's not a bad increase. You generally get 20-30% power increase, but for diesels, everybody looks on brake horsepower. They look on a diesel and go, oh, it's got 180 brake horsepower. A petrol version's got, say, 200 brake. Look at the torque figures. A diesel would be nearly double a petrol, and that's the power that you use on the road. You do not use brake horsepower. Brake horsepower is screaming the engine a bit, like a Honda VTEC, for instance. Diesels have got the power you want, which is instant power at low revs. Straight away, change from second to third. You put your foot down, you're pulled into the seat your way. That's torque. Brake horsepower is a totally different. I actually don't know why that phrase is used so commonly. I think it's more down to the average person who doesn't know about engines, vehicles. It's easier to understand basically brake horsepower over Newton meters of torque. It's just, I think, a more kind of universal language, which is really the wrong language we should be speaking. It should be in torque figures. So yeah, that's it. I don't know this Cougar. I'm gonna write down some stuff before this guy gets here, unless he's got a printer on his van to do some print off. I mean, no, it's not going to be dyno tuning or nothing like that, but it'll be interesting to see. And I've also got the Transit, which is at my house. They're interesting, you see. All them come with it. Don't quote us on the exact figures, but I do know they come in, say, 3 or 4 tune formats. They come at something like an 80 brake, argument's sake, 100, 120 and 140, and they all leave the factory at 140 brake horsepower. There is zero difference. Like back in the day, you had bigger injectors, bigger turbos, bigger intercoolers. A lot of these modern engines on vehicles, like the caddy vans as well, they're all 140 brake horsepower, argument's sake. But the lower powered ones are just because when you bought them new, the person didn't spec them, because obviously that's how they make money. So all you're doing with the Transit is just putting it to its normal tune form rather than restricted tune form. But with that one, there was AdBlue issues with it, and that's just going to get switched off. Before anybody says disclaimer, it's not part of the MOT, to have AdBlue to check it, and nothing's been removed. It's the same with an EGR valve, like on that Cougar. If the EGR valve was physically removed and you look down there and you've seen it gone, it's an MOT fill. It's just an electronic update. So even if you got the major officials pulling you over at the road, who are they called now, DVSA, they wouldn't be able to do nothing. They're not allowed to plug nothing into your car. There's nothing to see. The only things that can fail you on are things that you can see, like a missing cat, missing DPF, that kind of stuff, you know what I mean? So I'll write down the figures. I'll put the reg of each of these vehicles into my basic reg checker, which all you guys will have access to. Then I'll see what the standard tune forms are, and I'll get the information of what he's got. The only thing my system doesn't bring up is the Newton meters of torque. It only just gives you the brake horsepower, but I'm sure he'll have all that information for me to photograph or something like that to show you. So remap stage 1, EGR delete, and a remap to standard form on the Transit, and also AdBlue delete. So there's not much else to show. So yeah, to stop there, the guy who had the Fiesta in yesterday, he was just in paying his bill. Right, so funny enough, back onto the point of that, got to focus in with the dreadful EcoBoost. Got the date stamped on them now, 13th of June 2017. These slightly later ones weren't too bad. They did get updated, but you still hear so many horror stories of them. They've still got the wet belt in them. Not my cup of tea, and I would strongly advise anybody against buying a vehicle with it in. If it was a brand new one with warranty, yes. Genuine Ford warranty, yes. But I've heard these engines used to be quite cheap. You could get a whole engine, I think, for about £1,200 from Ford. A crate-built engine, obviously not with all the ancillaries on. And I heard somebody the other day saying that's supposedly stopped like everything else these days. It's just rocketed in price. So yeah, my advice would be, if you wanted to focus on any kind of Ford, there's loads of other better engines out there than the 1 litre EcoBoost. Walk away, don't bother. We'll try and tell people this, like we told the guy who had this car, didn't listen, went out and bought another one, exactly the same, so who knows. But there we go, that's 1 litre EcoBoost, absolute rat's nest of wires, pipes, you name it. So this is just in for MOT. This is, was it an ST line? It's like basically like a 1 litre EcoBoost made to look a bit more sportier. Alright, I suppose. I don't mind the interior in these, they're quite nice. Ford do a nice entertainment system. They always have done, I think, from early days. But yeah, good cars. I've already told you the other day with the orange one that was in with that engine in, or preferably the 1600 turbo. The 1600 EcoBoost is a cracking engine, which is really weird. Like, that's such a good engine and that's such a bad engine. Don't know how Ford managed to do it. So yeah, good cars. I won't diss the cars, I just don't like the engine. Front springs on this, hopefully they're not broken, because that seems to be the main common thing with these Focuses at the minute. And yeah, quickly to the Jag before this guy turns up for the remapping. Same thing again, it's turned up and it's not been starting. Now, I will give the guy, our landlord, who's, you know, never any bother, and I'll tell you what, mind, I've had the most, when you ask a customer to do something, that is what I call a genuine, comprehensive testing. So it's every day. See, he's gone at 10, 12, 3, 5 and 8 on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday and all that, and these were the times it started and they won. Now I wish with all customers, if you ask them to do something, they would do it like that. We didn't ask him to do this, he's just done that, which has been absolutely great as a help, because at least we know now that for some reason in the mornings it's not liking it. There was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mornings it wouldn't start. But then it did on Tuesday. Then at 12 o'clock, it did, and then it didn't. And then at 3 o'clock. You know, so it gives a good indication. But unfortunately, we've had the car here. And let's just do another try there. This is first thing in the morning. I stood in here all night. And annoyingly, watch sod's law, it'll not start here. It's starting every time. What do you do, guys? What do you do? Try it one more time. I don't know how that shows. One more time. So, bit of a difficult one, isn't it? As I've mentioned, the starter motor is a big job. It could be down to the switch, a sensor, the ignition barrel, the battery, and we have tested the battery and funnily enough come up as replace. But even though it was down as replace, at the end of the day it kept stopping and starting, it's still starting fine. So we're in a... The only thing we could do, possibly, is the battery's supposed to have a lifetime warranty that used to be offered to it, which now no longer exists. Maybe try a battery, but as you can hear, that battery's full of life. Never even managed to drain it down to the point it won't start. Even when it was saying replace, it was still starting. So, bit of a funny one. Definitely a funny one. Have any of you got any ideas? You can't argue with that history that the guys put on there. So, don't know. We're going to have to look into that one a little bit more. But I'm going to leave that here, as this guy will be turning up, I hope, shortly. I've sent him a message, but I have to put my phone on airplane mode to do the recordings, otherwise I get interrupted. So let's just hope he does turn up, because I've got both these vehicles, especially in. The Transit's coming in, I'm bringing it in, it's at home. So yeah, I'll get back to you soon, so I'm going to go and check my messages. Right, quick update guys, the remapping lads here. I'm not going to shove the camera in his face, but I'm just going to have a quick walk around past his van and that and show you. So just quickly what's in. So this, I'll get the figures officially off them. This is my guesstimate. This Transit, like I mentioned, all of these are pretty much standard about 140 brake. I could be wrong, I'm referring to VAGs, it might actually be more, but I don't personally want this one having more than that. But this is 105 brake horsepower on the logbook, and I genuinely think it'll be about 140. The Cougar out there, I've done a check on that, that's 177 brake horsepower, and I reckon that'll be probably 200, near enough, or more for that one. I will get the figures. I'll just swing it on. So what the Transits haven't done, obviously I've mentioned, is AdBlue delete, because it's constantly having problems with it. The guys, it's doing the countdown timer. It's a common fault with these. Basically, yeah, it's the best way to deal with them. Just get them knocked off, basically. The emissions doesn't affect your MOT, doesn't affect nothing. Doesn't affect how they run. The stuff doesn't do any kind of, what's the word, benefit to keeping a DPF clean. So get that out your heads. AdBlue isn't a cleaner. It doesn't clean stuff, so it won't clog nothing up. Yes, a disclaimer, it doesn't make the emissions correct, as in for when the vehicle's new, but for any kind of people going into the ultra low emission zones or anything like that, there's nothing anybody could do. Even if those are pulled you up, there's nothing they could do. There's still AdBlue in the tank. You can't really drain them off properly. There's nothing you can put in an exhaust. An MOT is just a smoke test for a diesel. There's absolutely no way anybody could detect an AdBlue delete unless they're actually plugged in software into the vehicle. Same with the EGR delete on the Cougar. There's nothing anybody could see, do, emissions test, you name it. There's nothing that can be done by physically plugging in a computer to know this has been done. So just thought I would put that there. And before anybody goes on about disclaimers for your insurance, blah blah, these people have chose to have this done themselves. That's their choice. And at the end of the day, there's millions and millions and millions of vehicles driving around in the UK today with remaps on them. So let's not get pathetic. And if you do want to speak about anything like that, save it for somebody else, because it's not me, not my vehicles, not my company. Just this is what the customers have wanted. So just keep that one there. You just type in remap onto YouTube and there will be billions and billions of videos on there of remaps. So I'm going to go around and show you the Cougar. Right guys, welcome back. Sorry I had to cut off there, just everything's been going on. But this is the guy in question. I mean, obviously I had to swing it round. But RGM remaps, I must say, he's a very nice guy to deal with. He's done everything effectively how I've asked. The Transit, I can't believe he's told us on this one, it's gone from 105 brake to 190 brake, which I think it's got the same engine, believe it or not, in as that Cougar. So I think that Cougar will have 190 brake, and that will, I'll get the facts and figures off him once he's done. But yeah, definitely, if any of you guys are interested in this, you can bring your car to my garage and he'll do it here, just in case you're a little bit reluctant to take your car somewhere and leave it, and who you don't know, you can bring it along to my garage, leave it with us, probably for a time slot of when he can turn up, and he'll do it for you. So remember, you can get a stage 1 remap. It depends on all different vehicles. Generally speaking, you have diesels or turbocharged petrols. Naturally aspirated stuff aren't worth dealing with, and you can get an EGR delete, DPF delete or AdBlue delete or all. But the only thing is with DPF delete, I don't get involved with it because you've got to remove them. You've got to remove them and knock all the internals out, and it can get a little bit sketchy for MOTs doing that. So I must say, I'll make a disclaimer, I don't get involved with the DPFs. AdBlue and EGR deletes, yes, and that'll be included in the price. If anybody's interested, let us know, give us your reg, I'll send the details to him and he'll get back to us. If you contact him directly, just like on the normal Facebook site and stuff, you won't get a good price. I can get you a bit of a discount through the trade. I don't do anything, but he just gives us a bit of trade for coming out to the garage. What I tend to do is like this, is do a bit of a bulk deal, a bit of a combo, and try and have 2 or 3 vehicles or maybe more in, so you can do them all at once, and that's basically how I'll get it a bit cheaper, which means I can save you a bit more money. So yeah, just once again, RGM Remaps, spot on guy, he's using good software, he scans the vehicles, lets you know the faults before, does everything right, and I'll get back to you as soon as I know the facts and figures properly. He's going to email us them across tonight, but I might just ask him quickly the torque figures, the brake horsepower, just so I can write them down and give you an idea. But remember, these transits are unusual, you don't normally get that much of a power gain. That's just one of the few. I didn't realise it was actually as much, and that van can handle that. That's what them engines are meant to give. So yeah, we'll leave that one there. I'll get back to you once he's given us all the facts and figures. And if you want to contact us, either use Facebook direct message or just send us a message on YouTube. Catch you soon, guys. Right, welcome back to Wednesday's vlogs. That's those 2 vehicles done. First up, just the Cougar. I just want to run through. I got the figures. He's going to get the proper certificates later on, but I just want to run through. That was 177 brake horsepower, and on a stage 1 remap, it brings it to 201 brake horsepower. But like I said, forget the brake horsepower. That's not really what we're interested in. It's torque. That had 400 newton meters of torque from standard, and now it's got 470 newton meters, which is quite an increase, 70 newton meters of torque. But the Transit, this is on another level, but that's how these are. This, don't get us wrong, he hasn't put a stage 3 remap on here. This is just stage 1 because that's standard tune for these engines as they leave the factory. It's what you spec that van for, and you pay the extra. So if you say to Ford, I want 140, you'll have to pay over having the 105. If you have the 140 and you want, I don't know what there is, different ones, different categories, but they all leave the factory with 190 brake horsepower. So this has got 105 as it left the factory brake horsepower, and it's now got 190 brake horsepower. I've never seen a jump that big before. But mainly, again, forget the brake horsepower, especially on diesels and working vehicles, it's torque. Now this had 360 newton meters of torque. Now it's got 480. That's what's that? Roughly 120 newton meters of torque more. That is big style. Great. So happy days. I highly recommend that guy. Like I said, if anybody wants them done, let us know. Send us your details. Don't send me regs and stuff and asking me to get. I'm not. I've seen. I don't know how he can be bothered on Facebook. People just literally not even saying hi. How are you? What's this? Just going. This is me reg. ABC 1 2 3, and then he comes back and goes, "Yep, you've got an A1. This is your power. Blah blah blah." No response. No reply. That's just. You will get trade out of it, but I can't be arsed with that. If you're genuine. My number, if you go onto my YouTube channel, is on the number there. If you go onto the main channel description, there's a phone number. Ring us on there. Go onto my Facebook page, under Cardiff Garage Northeast, and send us a private message, and I'll contact this guy. But if you're just inquiring, contact him directly. If you're genuinely one of my customers or my viewers, I have the vehicle done here and I watch everything he does, so it's all under legit, done at the garage. If it's a crap day, you can use our workshop. But what I'm basically saying is, what I try to do with the guys, do bulk deals, as in like the day I had 2 vehicles, I'll try and get 3, or he says it doesn't matter even if it's 1, but I personally think you get a better price if you bring him a few. But whatever it's stated on his retail price, I can save you a little bit on that. Can't save you massive amounts, but I'll save you some money. It will definitely be cheaper if you contact me, and I'll get it done here. Basically, it gets done trade, but at the same time, it saves everybody. He makes money. We don't make money. I just get a discount for you guys. It's good promotion. So there you go. Let us know if you're interested. But anyways, onto this Transit. So it's had its remap done. Also, it's had its AdBlue delete. Totally forgot to mention that. So obviously that's had its EGR deleted. It doesn't have AdBlue. So that now is the EGR deactivated, which was causing problems. Doing that alone, I'm not going to go on and on and on, but we all know AGR valves, you get once they're blanked off and deactivated, you get much better miles per gallon, a lot more torque, low down revs are highly improved, keeps the engine oil cleaner for longer, and stops you having problems. So 100%, if it was my vehicle, AGR delete would be the first thing I would do, which you see is do either mechanically with the plates or see somebody about deleting them. The Transit, we've left the EGR how it is because it's working fine, but the AdBlue was causing major issues with the countdown timer on the dashboard. It comes up and basically says, in so many miles, the vehicle will not start, and that is true. Once you reach 0 miles, this vehicle would be dead. So now, the AdBlue on this vehicle is redundant. Everything's still there, in place, but you just never need to top it up anymore now. The vehicle's forgot it's there. Like I've mentioned, it doesn't do anything along the lines of keeping the DPF clean or nothing like that, so don't get mixed up with it. So that's had stage 1 with massive results, and also it's had the AdBlue deleted, which saves the guy. You see that idiot in the background there revving that stupid car? This van's actually got more power than that stupid thing. I can't understand people with these loud exhausts doing that. All he's done is drove in a 20-mile-an-hour zone from the junction of our garage with a lowered vehicle up to a massive speed bump. So he's given it full throttle, then immediately had to slam his brakes on. The mentality of people blows my mind on a daily basis around here. It really does. But anyways, onto this. It has got issues, like I've mentioned. The AdBlue was playing up, which was obviously been deactivated. But like I mentioned to the guy beforehand, I said you have got other issues with the DPF, which was causing the engine management light to come on. So we've done a bit of research. This guy, before doing any remaps, he scans the car and gives advice, and like he said to us with this, it won't get rid of the engine management light. That is an underlying problem with the DPF. So first up, we did the scan, and it's coming up with the pressure sensor, which is a big issue with these. I have checked the pipes which go to, I'll show you it down here. It lives on the side of the airbox here. That's the pipe that goes to it. I have pressure tested that and checked it. It's fine. It's not split or anything like that. So the natural thing you do is new pressure sensor. Also, once I've fitted this, I'm going to plug the machine in. And what you do is a relearn. So you basically tell the van it's got a new pressure sensor. So we're going to do that. And I just wanted to show you, this is a genuine Ford filter here. And you see that? Ford. And note the number at the bottom, the 5WK. Now, I didn't ideally want an intermotor part, but I do know intermotor use genuine parts in the box. So you just basically get it in an intermotor part box, but what you get inside is normally a good quality part. And in this case, I was reluctant to order it, but as it happens, it's... Sorry guys there for the loud noise, I dropped my phone. So there you go, there's a genuine Ford one, and there's the intermotor one. And like I keep telling you, you can see where the Ford badge is being grinded off. There. And if you look at that W5WK, whatever, 5WK, there will be slightly different numbers, because actually it isn't 96880, it's exactly the same as that. So there you go, genuine Ford part. Fraction of the price, not even in a Ford box. So this is what you call your pressure sensor. Just in case you're not aware what this is, that pipe goes into your DPF. A DPF's like a big kettle, like a big unit. Like looks like a big kettle, so to speak, like a big cylinder, and that's got a mass inside of it, basically like an element, loads of tiny little honeycombs, and when that builds up with soot, it creates more pressure for the air to go through. And that's what that sensor picks up, and that determines how full or empty the DPF is. And them sensors can play up a lot and give duff readings to the ECU, which causes them to actually block up in the first place. Luckily, there's the expensive bits, or the temperature sensors. There was no fault codes for that. So as long as that pipe isn't leaking, or got a hole in it or something, you're normally safe. New pressure sensor, relearn the van to a new pressure sensor, and take it out for a long drive and do a regen on it, and hopefully that should be the end of all of these problems. We hope, but he understands it isn't. But anyways, what else we're doing to this? New pressure sensor, like I've mentioned, it's in for a service, so it's got new air filter, the state that thing was in. Cheap crappy Wix thing on it. I know Wix, but they're not original, like what man is, absolutely minging that, so that's going to hugely benefit. Really, with a stage 1 map, you can put high performance filters in. I don't really recommend that. It's actually better proven to fit in original quality, which that's the wrong part. I'm annoyed at. I'm having to wait for a new one to come now because somebody took down the wrong reg. But yeah, so new air filter it's had. I just wanted to show you how minging these were. That new one is white normally, like that filter. So the fuel filter is a genuine Ford one, which has obviously never been changed from new. I know for a fact he hasn't been taking this into Ford. So that's never been changed for like 60,000 mile. So that's going to prove to be a massive result. So as well, so this guy basically is going to get this van back, and he's literally going to think he's got a different van between having the remap done. All this AdBlue countdown timer panicking him, thinking his van's going to come to a stop and not start, as well as this full service. I just want to show you on this oil filter. A man one exactly what we use. I think that's about all it's had. Oil filter's changed, but that is severely rusted. I don't think that's been changed for a long while. Man filters don't rust like that in 12 months. So, again, using the correct Ford oil, which is hugely important on these because they've got the wet belt, remember. They've got that is the proper Ford spec 030. You've got to use that when you're dealing with these with a wet belt, 100%. So, air filter, fuel filter, new oil and filter, new pressure sensor, remap, AdBlue delete, and I'm going to take it out. I'm just trying to get hands with oil on, and I'm going to take it out and give it a full on the road regen, and it'll probably be like a different van. So there we go. That's where we're up to. Cougar, that's going to go back. Focus in for MOT. Happy days. So I'm going to get on with that. I might just pause this and show you the process of the scanner if I can do that. If not, I'll catch you on tomorrow's vlog and I'll give you an update on how these vehicles are. Catch you soon, guys. Right, guys, back on with the Transit. I thought I would show you what I'm meaning by doing the relearning. The cock up with the air filter, I've had to just rebuild it back up with the old air filter in order to start it, because when I've got sensors disconnected, it doesn't help matters. So like I've mentioned, it's all back together now. The clips are loose. It's just because I've put the old filter back in because the battery was getting low. I needed to run it. So as you can see now, the new pressure sensor, if I get the torch, is fitted. That's a new pressure sensor there. But what we need to do now is relearn it. What I'm basically saying is you can fit that sensor. It's a new sensor. See, the old one's broke. The van doesn't know that. The computer, the car, whatever it is, doesn't know that. What you need to do is tell the vehicle's computer that it's got a new sensor on there. So what that's called is relearning. So what we need to do, first of all, obviously plug the scanner in and switch the ignition on, like so. Go across to the scanner, and I'll just put this on the front of the vehicle, switch it on. What we need to do is go into service. Takes a little while. And into the DPF section. This machine is bloody brilliant. I will 100% tell you guys, this machine is great. Their history, because I've already been on it today, it is just great. For what money this machine costs, machines that cost 20 times this, some of them can't even do what this can do. Fantastic. So what we're doing now is basically just going into the system to basically relearn the values to the new sensor. It's no use, otherwise it will not fix the fault. And just while we're waiting for this to load, what I quite like to do when I rest this machine on here is I put its little stand in the bonnet catch. It's the same size thing, just so if you knock it, it's sort of like attached to the vehicle. It's just sad things, but that's what saves you smashing the screen on it, which I see many people doing. So there we go, it's just loaded. Hot functions you want to go on to. Again, excuse the loading wheel. The machine's been on a while today. I don't know why it tends to get a little bit slow. So he has all your different things you can do, like for instance, selective cap reduction, parameter reset, and all this kind of stuff. What we want to do is, let's go to here, reset diesel particulate filter DPF differential pressure sensor. That's what we've changed. Learn values. So we need to reset that. So what we do is we go into here, press OK. It says basically make sure that all the vehicle doors successful, depends on how the powertrain lasts. So press OK. What's that? So obviously ignition on and engine off, which it is. Okay. And just wait for it. Clear and learn values. If you don't do this, there's no point. If you just put a new sensor on there, you will not fix the fault. That's telling me to go and switch the ignition off. So we'll go into the van now. Switch the ignition off. I should really the best way to do this is to sit in the van. There's just more light in here for me to do it. Switch ignition off. Now, it's just basically waiting for the control module to power down. I don't know if you can hear that. Just the buzzing. There's still obviously power going to all the different sensors and whatnot on the engine. So we'll just wait. I'll wait for that to get to the end and I'll come back to you. Nearly at the end, there we go. So now we have to go and put the ignition on, engine off. The reason why I've built it all back up, I just don't know if this requires me to start it, which I couldn't have done before because all the sensors all these were disconnected to get the air filter out. On. Now it's telling us to switch the ignition off. So back round, switch the ignition off. Like I said, be a lot more sensible doing this sitting in the van, but I'm trying to show you guys what's going on in better light. So switch the ignition off. Service function complete. Okay, job done. There we go. What I'm also going to do here, which I've learned something today, I was always wary of resetting the DPF parameters, which basically tells the van it's got a new DPF. I always thought you shouldn't do that, you're going to cause problems. He basically said you'll eliminate a lot of DPF problems, and this van's been running unwell for quite a long time. We're going to do this one as well. So ignition back on. Am I going to do exactly the same for that as this, but I don't think that one is as much of a pain going back and forwards to do. So basically your parameter resetting those. So go on to here, and obviously you just yes. I think this one's a lot more straightforward to do. Yeah, done, successful. Switch ignition off. Like I say, a lot of walking back and forwards. Sorry to bore you, but it's part of the procedure. Off. Okay, that's it, done. Just thought I'd show you guys that. So now this van will be a good one. Full service. It's also had new pressure sensor put on, DPF pressure sensor. AdBlue deleted off. Remap, which will be unreal. I'm quite looking forward to driving it. Not that I'll hawk a customer's vehicle around, definitely not. But it will be massively noticeable, from 105 to 190 brake horsepower and over 120 newton meters more of torque. Yeah, you don't go thrashing them about, but the vans were made to deal with that power. They were designed standard with that power from the factory. So, that's that. All I need to do now is wait for this stupid air filter to turn up, which has cocked the day up a bit. Take that Cougar out, give it a good regen, take it back to the customer. Take the van out, give it a good regen, take it home. Bring my new project car back here, which unfortunately I'm going to have to try and reveal that sometime this week, so I don't, before Friday, otherwise it's going to drop it in it. And that's it, guys. Hope you enjoyed it today. Since I've done all these quite lengthy videos, unfortunately I think this is going to go into a 2-part upload, which it's good for ratings, but it's a pain in the arse for me, because it means I've got to edit 2 videos, upload 2 videos, put the tags on 2 videos, title 2 videos. Pain in the arse. But anyways, I do this for you guys, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you appreciate it. Thanks for the comments, and I do appreciate everybody who supports and follows the channel. So I'll catch you on, there's not much more to do today. It'll be on tomorrow's vlog on Thursday, which I'm going to try and make it short and sweet, and Friday to try and condense this down a bit. Catch you soon, guys.